How far are we from a two-state solution or any sort of substantial peace right now? Because within the past week, we have seen violence of epic proportions. It seems like we are the furthest away from peace we could possibly be. So how do you think we get there?
Well, first we take out Hamas. Hamas took this action perhaps in desperation because they saw that President Biden was close to putting together a deal between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Now, we identify Saudi Arabia as perhaps the most important Arab country because it's got the most oil. It is also perhaps the most important Muslim country because the Saudis are the guardians of the holy places, Mecca and Medina. And that stature, if they cut a deal with Israel, means that the Arab states have accepted that there will be an Israeli state. And that is the number one thing Hamas is trying to prevent. They knew when they started this that thousands of them would die. And yet they took this action because they were so desperate to avoid that. They also know that by killing thousands of Israeli civilians, they certainly put back for many years, or at least several years, the day when Israel can agree to an independent Palestinian state, because obviously there's a lot of anger in Israel. There should be. It's one thing to face a military attack on your military from your opponents. It's another thing to see them rounding up old ladies and taking them back as hostages, killing old women who were survivors of the Holocaust, decapitating people, the rapes. This is not something that makes it politically palatable in Israel to talk about a Palestinian state.
As you know, Senator Mitt Romney was part of a bipartisan group of lawmakers to go to Israel over the past weekend, and he said that every life lost is at the hands of Hamas. Do you think this is a sentiment that is shared by many Democratic voters, or the majority of Democratic voters?
I think the vast majority of people in America recognize that the lives that are lost are because Hamas entered into started this war, and started it with an attack aimed almost exclusively at civilians. I think on reflection, they'll realize it's not just Hamas's actions of the last 10 days. It's Hamas demanding that every Jew in the Middle East be killed or expelled that has set the Middle East up for the tensions that we've grown up with decade after decade. So yes, this war is because of Hamas. If Hamas had not engaged in this brutal mass terrorism, this war would not be happening. And Hamas must take responsibility not only for every dead Israeli, but every dead Palestinian as well.
And Congressman, my final question to you is, these are just the beginning days right now. The initial attack, Hamas's attack on Israel, was just over a week ago. What should Americans be looking out for next?
Well, at best, this is a 2-month conflict that will have the world's attention, that will at least put a premium on whether oil will be available, because it could get larger and involve more. There could be actions by the United States to prevent Iranian oil from reaching world markets. There could be terrorist actions against other oil facilities. We need to make sure that Hezbollah stays out of this battle, and I think President Biden's actions accomplish a lot of that, and the Israeli government's actions accomplish a lot of that. But Israel can't live next to the Hamas monster in the future. They're going to have to go in and really eliminate Hamas as a terrorist government living right next door and dedicated to as I say, the killing of every Jew or the expulsion of every Jew from the Middle East.
Congressman Brad Sherman, thank you so much for your insight. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thank you very much.